This is a video for how to change the front brake pads on a 2003 Hyundai Sonata. I've never done this before, so I'm gonna try to figure it out as I go along. You got to jack up the front and then jack up the front wheel, and then you pry off this cap, and you got your four nuts. Gonna have to go get my wrench and loosen those. So I got my little impact wrench, and I put a 21mm on there. The nuts feel a little bit loose. I think it might actually be a 20mm, but whew, those are tight. Yeah, I may have to get a breaker bar to get those loose. Those are on tight. I bet they haven't been off in a while. So I got my old 13/16 of an inch socket on a breaker bar, and that does feel a lot tighter than my 21mm, so I think it is probably a 20mm. And these are so yeah, I may have to lower the car back down and break the torque on these lugs. Whew. So I lowered the car down so the tire is touching the ground again. And now I'm gonna put as much force as needed to get the nuts loose. Oh boy, that really doesn't feel very good. Yeah, I think my 12-point socket might just be stretching and spreading over. So I might not have the right socket to do this. This is hard. I don't think... I mean, I could try 21. Oh yeah, it's definitely coming loose now. Just need a little bit of breaker bar. Whew, this is hard. Oh boy, I bet these have never been loosened in years. Anyway, that's what you got to do. Combination of breaker bar, and then I'll go back to the impact. Got a lot of work to do. And if I can use a power tool, it's always better. Oh yeah, but before I take this wheel off, I gotta jack it back up again. I'm gonna jack it back up. Okay, so I got the wheel off the ground again. Be sure to use jack stands and to block the wheels so the car can't roll. This is my favorite part, when I get to just spin them off. Usually, they'll come off easier. These may have been put on really tight the last time. I don't know. I don't think I've ever taken these wheels off on this car before. A little bit of crust and corrosion, but not too bad. And then, yeah, the wheel comes off. Oh, move that out of the way. And then, now it's time to take a look at the brakes. You can see still got about 4 or 5 millimeters on the outer pad, and the inner pad looks about the same. There's a beautiful spider with a red dot on its belly. It's always exciting. You never know what you're going to find. The rotors look good, so I'm going to just put new pads on. And I got a new set of pads from the dealer. So that's what I'm going to do. So what I normally do is before I start taking the brakes apart is I clean it up, clean up the rotor, the caliper a little bit with some spray to get some of the dust off. And I put a catch pan. Don't spray this stuff on the rubber. And I'm going to spray it more once I disassemble it, but I like to spray it a little bit before I get into it to get some of the dust off. Phew, stinky. Yeah. So I lifted up this rubber cap, and that reveals the bleed nipple, and I clean that off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this bleed nipple, and then I'm going to pry on the I'm going to pry back on the caliper in order to spread it a little bit so that there's room to put the thick new pads in place. I don't really know what the yeah, it's a 10. So one of the dangers with these little bleeder nipples is that they tend to be they're not usually made of steel. They're made of brass or nickel, copper, or some other alloy, I don't know what, that doesn't that resists corrosion. And so they're soft. So you don't want to use an open end wrench to open them. You want to use a box end or a closed wrench. So yeah, I just want to turn it a little bit loose and always keep it nice and clean. Yeah, and you just need to turn a little bit, and you see the brake fluid starts dripping out. That's what you want to see, is just a little bit of brake fluid dripping out. Make sure your brake reservoir is, not empty when you start this, because you don't want to let air get into the brake lines while you're working on these calipers. So, just want to pry on the caliper to spread it open a little bit. Which I'm not sure what the best way is of doing that. Whew, rusty. Not sure where to apply leverage.